everybody. So I'm going to attempt to show you my turmeric that I grew in the big pots. These big pots here. So I've already dumped it out. This is it right here. These little things that you see on here, down here, these are all babies. So when I pull this off, I'm just going to throw those in another pot so I can put it back in. But I'm going to turn this over because the main stuff is on the bottom here. I can get it to roll over. Oh my gosh, so many of them. But here's a big clump right here. I'm going to try to pull it out. Woo, child. This is a lot. So yeah, there's a lot in here. So I'm going to try to do this real quick. Oh, there's a lot. You can see it. Pure gold. This one's a baby, so I'm going to throw it in my pot. But next year, keep this one like that. This is a big one. It's a big cluster. It's all over there. There we go. Woo-cha. Okay, that's a baby. I'm going to take that one off and throw it in the bucket. Replant. It'll be next year. Take the dirt off. Yes, it's quite dirty. That one's a baby. Ugh. So once you actually get this started in your yard or in your buckets, you'll always have seeds because you'll always have new rhizomes, because some of them will be too big, will be big enough that you'll use to either cook or make tea or whatever you want to do with it. And then little baby ones you just throw in the bucket and or just replant in the ground. It's very rooty, as you can see, and it's going to require a lot of washing. So I just take out as much as I can of the soil to put back into the pot. Of course, I reuse my soil. I always put a little bit more fertilizer in it, and I let it breathe for a couple days, and then I'll replant for the summer. So looks like if it stays like this, I'll actually have everything in the ground at the beginning of March. One just broke off. See your turmeric? And then this big cluster, which I'm going to break in half so I can get some more of the dirt out. And this is the big one. Once I wash it and cut off all those roots, then you'll recognize it as turmeric. But so yeah, I'm just going through it, getting as much of the soil out. So when you see it in the store, it's all nice and clean and pretty, but you got to get it to that point. So see, that's a really big one. Look at that. Yep. And that's a piece that broke off, but this one is actually a good size to eat. So there's more here. Oops. But never mind, those are big enough to eat, so I just want to get as much of the dirt out as possible, and I'll try to wash out before I take it in the house in the sink. Cut all the dead end roots off and get all of the dirt out, and then I will actually end up showing you the finished product. So I've got lots more to take out here, as you can see. There's nothing there, but there's a big cluster here and a big cluster here. I think that's it. And the rest of it is, these are all new babies. So I guess over the winter time they kind of started going through there, even though it was cold. So I'm going to reuse all of that will get planted back into the pot. And so right now I have quite a bit that I already dug, because that was my this is my second big pot, big black pot, because I had 2 of these. So here is what I have right now, and then I will probably have 2 more big clusters of those of the turmeric, and then we'll see what the end results look like. See you later.
Hi everyone, this is Trish from Urban Farming with Trish. Today we have Cynthia Cummings, which is an experienced home gardener. Hi Cynthia.
Hi Trish.
So we just saw the video with you growing the turmeric, and I know already that turmeric naturally grows in South Asia, in India, and it's, beneficial to our health and has a lot of medicinal components to it. So what made you start growing it?
Because I was buying, and I was purchasing at the grocery store.
Mm-hmm.
And when you buy it, at the time when I started buying it, it was running like $5.99 a pound. And then the price started going up, and it was getting higher and higher. Like right now, it runs you about $8.99 a pound, depending on where you at. Some places $9.99 a pound.
That's
and you don't really get a whole lot. That's very expensive.
Mm-hmm.
So for me, I have knee problems. I needed something to help me to fight inflammation. So that was one of my main reasons to do it. So I said, well, it's a root, so I should be able to grow it myself. So I actually started experimenting. And I think this was back in 2009. I started here in my backyard, and I just got a pot. And as I would purchase my turmeric, the pieces that would be left over, the little small pieces, and sometimes if you let it sit in the house, it'll actually start growing itself.
Wow. So
the
it
little bugs
germinates from the
it'll germinate just sitting there. It's almost just like a potato. You leave the potato in the house and you notice that the eyes start growing. Well, the turmeric will do the same thing. So I said, okay.
Okay.
And then I just started breaking those off and putting those in a pot of dirt.
So those are your actual seeds. So is there a way to buy turmeric seeds, or is it better to just buy the actual turmeric and then plant what's left over?
There is no seeds. They're called, actually, the seed is actually called a rhizome. And it's really like a part of the plant that you eat, the bulb that you eat. And the rhizome, when they consider that, that's the little piece that hangs out on the side that starts growing like a new leaf. So the turmeric is just like, I don't know how to explain it, but it will just continuously grow and keep expanding. So one branch will come out and then another branch will come out. It'll just keep branching and getting bigger and bigger and bigger.
Yeah. So basically it's like a root.
It's a root. It's definitely a root that you put in the ground, and it continuously grows. So you won't see any, there's no seeds.
Oh, okay. All right.
Turmeric and ginger are in the same family, and they basically root the same way.
Okay. I know you using it for, your inflammation, and I know it has other medicinal benefits like high cholesterol, depression. How do you prepare it though?
I use it, and also I use it for my stomach. It helps settle your stomach. So I usually have a hot cup of hot water, and I just steep it. You can also boil it, but I always steep it every morning. I'll just slice up a few pieces and put it in a cup with some hot water, let it sit there and brew. And then I just put like some honey in it, a little honey to sweeten. You can put some cayenne pepper. It gives it a little kick. And you can also use apple cider vinegar in it as well. To me, it makes it almost taste like tea, like you're drinking tea.
Okay.
And I just drink it that way.
Right. Because like I know if you use it to cook with, they use it like in the curry powders.
Right.
Butter, cheese, mustard. And it's
one
also
of the things, yeah, that's exactly right. Because the color of it. The one thing about turmeric is you have to be careful. I keep a box of gloves in the kitchen because when you're cutting it, it's orange in color and it will stain everything. So
I
don't get
know
it
that,
on your counter. It takes it a little while. It will come out, but it will stain and it will be in there for a little bit.
like a dye.
Unless you
I
take
know they
some
use it in
bleach or
makeup.
something.
Yeah.
Yeah, makeup. It's
Mm-hmm.
definitely a property for makeup.
Yeah, I know they use it in that as well. So we can use it for tea and basically to cook for flavoring.
Hmm.
So it's just
Yeah,
and it's healthy.
for smoothies, making juices. Like this maybe a couple months ago, my daughter got into juicing.
Mm-hmm.
So she takes a whole bunch of it and she juices it. She made what you call it's like a ginger shot. It was turmeric and ginger, and it was just pure. And she makes it in a little small container,
Mm-hmm.
and you just drink that in the morning. You believe me, it's like, oh, opens up your nose, everything. You can feel it instantly.
How do you feel about people using it to fight COVID-19?
Uh,
Do you think that's just something that makes us feel better, or does it work, or
well, sometimes if you believe in thing something enough, it makes you feel better. It may not actually be working,
a
but
placebo?
you just feel better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess you could say it would help you to heal faster, because in your mind you're fine, and then
Right.
hopefully eventually you'll actually seek out and get that medical care that you need to go with it.
So we can put it in the category as a sugar pill. The placebo.
Yeah, a water pill, right?
Mm-hmm.
What they say. Yeah, definitely a placebo. But even though it's a placebo for COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
you still get the other health benefits from it.
That's true. 9 days till spring.
9 days till spring. What
What are you
today
planning?
is? Thursday, Friday, Saturday. We got 3 days to daylight saving time.
Forgot
Hey,
about that. Time goes up or back?
time
Longer
goes
days,
spring forward.
spring forward. Okay.
Hmm.
Longer days, shorter nights.
Yes, I love that,
Me
because
too.
I'll be out here working till 9, 10 o'clock at night.
Right. Because now I go to bed. I'm ready to go to bed early. As soon as I'm like my chickens. Soon as it start getting dark, I'm ready to go to bed.
Wow.
So
Yeah.
which month do you start growing turmeric?
Well, actually, my plan is either this week or next week to get them into the ground.
Okay.
Um, it's warm enough now, and it's not that much frost. By the time they start peeking through, we won't have any more frost. And supposedly, I do believe I saw someone said that we're not going to get any more frost.
I hope not. You in
It's
zone
it's
B,
over.
right? Zone
Zone
zone B? 7B.
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 Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So what else are you going to plant? Do you have any gardening tips that we can use to get
Mm-hmm.
prepared? Just start getting prepared. I know everybody's just starting again, but what are
Um,
some of the things that we can go ahead and get started on?
it's preparing your soil.
Okay.
Preparing your soil. One of the things is, like, I've already got 3 pots prepared. I already put the fertilizer and everything in it. It's been sitting in it now.
Mm-hmm.
When I made that video, that's when I came out the next week and I prepared my soil then.
Okay.
So I probably add a little bit more fertilizer in there, and then I'll put the bulbs in there so that they can start growing.
How long
Um,
does it take? How many days before you can get a complete turmeric root?
that would actually take, they
About the
say,
standard 90 days or
no, it's not that fast, because usually what happens is, what I've learned over time is that if you don't see the flowers blossoming,
mm-hmm.
and I didn't have that, I don't know, no, I didn't have that in that video, but I have some other videos out there that shows when it started blooming. When you see the
Okay.
flower, it's a beautiful white flower. I mean, it's amazing, the flower that comes out of
Okay.
this. And when you see that happening, then you know that you're actually producing turmeric. The bulbs are actually growing and they're getting bigger.
Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. And then from that point, you just like, how do you know to pull it? Like, how did you know to actually pull your turmeric and you knew that it was ready?
Mostly when you have anything that's like a bulb, a root, a bulb, like uh, the turmeric or sweet
Mm-hmm.
potatoes, you want it to die off with the
Mm.
winter.
Okay.
You want the leaves to die off. And usually what happens with turmeric is once it starts getting cool, they'll start turning yellow. You'll see
Okay.
it. And I always wait till like January usually around January when I start harvesting mine. That kind of lets the top die off real good. It gets kind of cold hardy and the roots stop growing. And then I just pull them up that way.
Okay. Well, your turmeric looks ready. I watched the video, I think about 5 times in a row, because I was just, they look so healthy and strong.
I got a lot of responses from that video. I think a
Yeah,
lot of
it
people
looks,
were like surprised that you could actually do it. And
yeah.
to be honest with you, this year was the first year out since I had started that I've got them that big. I mean, last year I did really well, but they weren't quite that big. But this year, I think one of the things you got to keep in mind that when you first start, they may not be quite as big as you want them.
Okay.
So when you dig them up and they're not what you want, you can actually just bury them right back again.
Okay, I noticed that you did that in the video, but I know you're retired military. You've probably been in every state and across country, out of the country. Did it make a difference based on the region when you were growing turmeric?
Well, I've only grown it in the States. When I was in the military and I used to travel, I only grew like tomatoes and cucumbers, the common stuff that you can
Yeah.
use, just
Okay.
depending on where I was at.
Okay. So right now, I know you're in 7B. Now is the time to start growing turmeric?
Now would be the best time to start planting it. It gives it that little head start while it's still cool and not overly hot for the roots to start, for it to grow, to start growing in. And that way, once that starts and it starts bearing the head that comes out through the ground, you'll start seeing little buds peek out through the ground, and it grows really big, and it has these big leaves like a calla lily. The leaves it almost looks like a calla lily on the top. Now, the one thing I noticed that this last year, my leaves, I'm 5'11", so my buckets are about 2 feet, but my plant was taller than me.
Was it full sun, shade, or?
Full sun.
Full sun.
Full sun.
And how often should we water?
You want to keep the soil kind of moist. Just don't let it dry out too much.
Yeah.
Like any plant that you have, don't let the plant dry out. If you let your plant dry out, what it does is it disturbs the growing cycle. So,
It has
like
to work
they say,
harder or something?
it works harder to grow. It stunts your growth. So it'll stop and then it starts.
Right.
And that's why, like they say, when you have tomatoes, they start looking really weird because if you're not watering evenly, your tomatoes will stop and then it starts growing. So you get these funny looking tomatoes. And the same thing with the root for the turmeric. You want to kind of keep it moist. Don't let it dry out too much, but you don't want it to be soaking wet because remember, it is in the dirt. And if you keep the ground too wet, it's going to rot.
Okay. So just be mindful of that.
A well-drained buckets with nice holes in it. But you want to wet the soil, that way it'll drain out on its own. And you don't necessarily have to water it every day unless it's just immensely hot where it's drying it out.
Okay. Well, thank you so much, Cynthia, because I'm going to I'm going to have to buy me some turmeric first. I want to go to the farmer's market and I want to get it started this weekend, and I'll keep you posted on how I'm doing. So can I come to you if I see a struggle?
Hey, if you see a struggle, call me, girl. I'm right here.
Thank you so much, Cynthia, for, enlightening us on turmeric, because out of all the things to grow, turmeric is never on the list. You don't even think you can be successful at growing that at home.
Remember, you can do ginger the same way.
Ginger the same way. So turmeric and ginger, you can grow pretty much the same way.
The same way.
Okay. We're going to keep an eye on you and your garden because you're good at it. I think you got what you call blessed hands.
Oh, that's what they say. Thank you, Jesus.
Blessed hands. And thank you so much. And we're definitely going to share your video. And I'm thankful to share you with our platform. And we'll talk soon.
All right, then we'll see you later.
See you later.
Get out of the way. Look.
I know.
This mess here.
That's a lab.
Yeah, he's a chocolate lab.
A
Get
chocolate.
out of my face.
Hey. What's her name or his name?
Bear. He's a boy.
A boy, yes.
He's a boy. Look.
He
in
looks
my
like
face.
a big old bear. Look how spoiled he is. Look how you looking at you.
Girl,